Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. It's confidently wrong. This man just clinking his glass as I start the intro. He knows I hate it when he messes with the microphone, and yet here he is. Clink, 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 clink. All right.
Yo,
What you
he's just
said?
adding some music accompaniment.
Yeah, it's like I'm playing. It's like the Jingle Bells. What you talking about? I'm trying to add some art, some culture to this pod.
Got his own cowbell. Yeah.
No, I'm just misunderstood. It's okay.
Me and Brian are on the same wavelength there. The only prescription is more cowbell.
I know that one.
But we were thinking it right now. That's
Oh,
what
yes,
I'm saying.
yes.
Yeah.
Like I know stuff.
Yeah, everybody I feel like our age. Well, you were pretty young.
More cowbell.
Yeah, with
That's
the
what I'm
more
saying. That's why I
cowbell.
had to make it clear. Like, hey, hold on. I know you
Yeah,
oldies
right.
ain't about just
That's
a young
interesting.
buck.
Because you would have been like middle school when that
I
came
have
out.
the internet, West. Television. Things were syndicated. There are reruns.
There
I
was no
watched Good
YouTube.
Times
This
growing
was-
up too, and I
This
wasn't
is
even
before
born yet.
YouTube, though. I think that happens.
Anyways,
This
Let's
is
keep
how
moving
YouTube
along.
works, Wes. Things get resurfaced.
am
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
tripping, Brian? Anyways, Wes, what are we talking about today?
I'm saying you wouldn't have. Never mind. Whatever. Okay, so first Star Wars movie in like 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
So like
Since,
6 years.
What was the last one?
The Rey movie, or the one where Palpatine returns. The
That
one
was
that
the
never-
last Star Wars
Yeah, we-
cinematic experience? Really?
Yeah, we haven't had a big one since then. I don't think we've had Andor, which felt cinematic but was on small screen. So
What
Yeah.
about like Solo and stuff? That
yeah,
was
Solo
all
was before that, right?
All that was
Wow.
before Solo, Rogue One were like those spin-offs before they did the new
I think
trilogy.
they were
recall.
interspersed, right? It was like episode whatever
Yeah,
9.
but like
and
episode
then-
9 is the last. But you're right, 9 was the last like Star Wars in theater movie.
which left a sour taste in everyone's mouth because last week we talked about The Boys and how they didn't do any of the setup. That movie really did no setup. It just threw things out there and it was like, now you got to eat this, and that left a lot of Star Wars fans quite upset. But we're back in the world of Star Wars now on the big screen. We are getting to see, Din Djarin. We're getting to see Grogu on a new adventure. And I didn't watch a bunch of the trailers because I didn't want it to be spoiled. I knew I wanted to see it. So I didn't really have any expectations about what this movie could be. I think, Savon, me and you talked very briefly on one of our previous pods that I was a little bit I don't know, concerned, nervous, whatever.
Your words were, I don't know, it might be bad.
It might be bad,
those,
right?
Those were your words. I was like, oh, where'd that come from? That was my
Yeah.
question of, what prompted that?
I think because we had episode 9 be kind of bad, and and some of the shows had been hit and miss, and this is the same creative team, right? It's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they have a mixed bag record of producing good stuff. Like some of it's really great and some of it's kind of eh. And so I didn't know where it was going. I also didn't know that if you call the movie Mandalorian and Grogu instead of maybe something thematic that's happening in the movie, it makes me wonder, like, is this just you trying to sell Grogu toys to me right now? I'm not sure where the impetus came from that. And so that's where I was just like, I don't know if this is going to be a movie that really stands the test of time, or, what's going into it and how invested we're going to be. I don't know. Brian, what did you
Cash
expect?
grab.
Yeah. Was this... I don't know that I explicitly thought cash grab. I was like, it's possible that this is what happened here. I don't know.
One thing that I found out about the pre-production of this, and
Okay.
maybe I don't know if this will beat the cash grab allegations, but the movie was apparently intended to be a season of the show, like its own season, and
Sure
because
felt
of
like it.
and because of I guess it was like workers, writer. This was they mentioned this was another like writer strike type deal of because of work stoppage stuff. They reimagined it from instead of its own season into a movie. I was able to get that context
That doesn't
kind of like
make
shortly
sense.
before I saw them. Wes, I'm not okay. Look, if the people, I don't make movies. If the people
the
said,
facts that you're citing don't make sense.
No, the
point is, the
fact
people
that,
said-
like, yeah.
look, the people said that trying to make whatever it is, I'm not Dave Filoni.
yeah.
All I know is the people done said them. They say on their side there was a lot of production work up and stuff on the big picture that affected what their vision was for the show. They realized that we should probably try and make this into a movie rather than to a show, and that felt more feasible. I had that context going into the movie, which was helpful. I think, Brian, as you kind of hinted at, that already, like, I think any criticisms I do have with the movie are immediately like, oh, okay, that I can see the thread of why and how that happened. But I think before we even have the discussion, it is a helpful piece of context of they wanted to do a season, production issues happened or work stoppage, whatever. They said we're going to reimagine it into a movie. Do with that information what you will. But I at least thought I don't know if it's so. And all I have to say, I don't know if it's cash or if it is cash grab. It's not cash grab because it's a movie. It's cash grab because series. Period. Like Mando season 4 would have been cash grab too, which frankly with how it ended It's not the wildest thing to say. But also the streets love Mando, so I don't know. But TV show, movie wasn't the OG plan. It kind of shows.
I agree. I think it showed a little bit.
Okay,
Brian,
I'm glad we're at least in
Kinda.
agreement on that.
Did
I'm
you?
glad that's a piece of like, okay, we're all going in of like, hey, we already on the same page of that.
I didn't
It helps
know
with the
that. I didn't
discussion.
know that going in though.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
neither
why I
did
wanted
I.
to.
Neither
No, that's
did
why it's
I.
a helpful. That's why it's really helpful context of like, like I said, every issue I did have with the movie is like, that's where it's coming from, rather than what the hell were these people doing? Were they smoking crack while they were in the writers' room, like for another show?
Maybe. I mean, but that
Anyways.
doesn't excuse it,
Never
especially
said
since
excused it.
yeah,
I just think
especially since
context is helpful.
Disney made a big show of saying like, hey, we're gonna pull back on these things. We're gonna make sure that what we put out is good. And then they did what they did for Daredevil season 1, right? Or Born Again season 1, which is, we had this idea, we had this thing, we realized it wasn't working, and so we changed gears, but we tried to reuse all the things that we were still using, and it comes out as this kind of a little bit of a thing that could have been greater than what it was, and I don't know. Brian,
Yeah.
what did you expect going in though? You kind of said you were like, meh, on it.
Was I expecting anything? I don't think I was expecting anything. I was
Okay.
like, more Mando. That's
Yeah.
cool, I guess.
More Grogu.
He's, people love the Mandalorian, and Grogu's cute and fun and
Yeah.
sells toys. Cash grab. I think that's all I
Star
felt.
Wars, the series is a cash grab.
What do you-
Let's
what do
not
you
act
know?
like the
What do you
series is a
know?
cash grab. That's what Star Wars is.
But I realized halfway through this movie that I don't think I ever even finished the last season of Mando because it was so boring. Going into that story with all the other Mandalorians and the rightful ruler of Mandalore, and who the F knows. But I was, I'm still like down. I'm down for the movie. Kind of like similar to what we were talking about with the boys before in our previous episode. It was like they have banked so much goodwill already, like knowing that there's like some real standout episodes of The Mandalorian, and on the whole, it has been a very enjoyable watch. So, let's go to the big screen. Let's go big. Let's do it up and have a great thrilling ride for one character who's super cool and another character who is super adorable. But did they deliver? Question mark.
That's what I was kind of expecting. Maybe is just like, hey, can we? And what I wondered was, could you make the small screen show format and characters translate to big screen? Like, I actually don't know why some things work on movies and some things work better on television, given that they're both visual mediums with music and sound and acting and stuff. So to me, like, it feels like one thing could work, but other things don't. But what?
And in this,
No,
they
I'm
said,
saying, I
let's
think it's
put TV on the screen.
No, I think that's the answer, Wes. It's a timing pacing thing. We've talked about this for years, where the big difference is that a movie, you have way less. You kind of have a very hard limit on how much time you have to tell your story,
And you got to speed run it.
and it's like I don't want to say speed running, because like if we're just talking movies in general, but like you kind of have a much harder cap on the time to tell your story. Like even a 3-hour movie is pushing it, which obviously is nothing for a multiple episode season. So like that's the difference, is what can you fit in and how does that affect pacing, which is something I have a lot of takes about for this movie. But what I'll say going in is that I think I had a very reasonable bar going in. We've talked even in the OG conversations about Mandalorian about what makes it appealing is that it doesn't try to be super deep or complicated. It's very much just like a Western man and child go adventure of the week type shit. I've always liked Mando because it kept it relatively simple. Like it wasn't trying to be super complicated. The two main characters are very, very not complicated people. So I was kind of just more so, as long as I get this fun space adventure, that's like my bar of like, okay, that's my expectation. Anything else is house money, but I expect like a spacefaring adventure with two relatively chill, not a lot to say characters, which more or less is like, like it's like one of those, it didn't, the things I expected from the movie, I got from the movie. And I say that like in a good way.
Okay. I thought like Mando in the very beginning of the show was a little bit more of a complex character, given like the mystery we had around him, and then given the conflict he had in terms of, does he follow his religious teachings, and his beliefs there, or does he follow like what's practically in front of him? And But there wasn't that in this episode, and I think you're right. By the time we get to this, not this episode, this movie, by the time we get here,
but his character development has happened already. To your point, like
Exactly,
his
right.
thing was the creed, the lifestyle, the child. Do I care about the child? Do I take him in? Is he a foundling like me? Like that is the thing. Like a lot of his character
Right.
development has happened already. Which again,
Yep.
I kind of figured going into the movie, like they've kind of already told the key elements of his story. He's kind of already in a very good place, like as a person and character, which is fine. But that kind of set the expectation of I'm not about to expect him to have some kind of crazy transformational shit because that's just never really been his vibe. And if it is, it's happened already.
Yeah. But then you sort of got
I just wanted cool bounty. I just wanted cool bounty. Honestly, I went in thinking, oh, okay, so we get cool bounty hunter shit with this little apprentice with him. Cool. Sounds like it'll be dumb fun at the minimum. Anything else, like, but I was not going in expecting some kind of super deep story because how could you? The two characters don't talk.
Yeah, but that's kind of unfortunate.
I think it's a pro
to
and
have
con.
that be a reality of this particular movie, especially given that it's our first one in a while. All right, so we know right from Savon's reporting that the movie started
What
out
the
kind
hell?
of as a Mandalorian.
Do you think I'm
You said,
lying?
what the hell? Because I'm laughing at it.
No, I'm laughing at Wes. I said Wes. It's directed at Wes. Like, what you think I'm lying?
No, you reported on it.
Allegedly.
I didn't say allegedly. I said you reported on it. That
That tone felt really like, sure, bro.
what?
It's cool. I'm just projecting. Continue, Wes.
Y'all are nope. I
talk your
definitely
shit.
didn't mean it. I apologize, Savon. I did not mean it that way. Savon has told us that season 4 of Mandalorian actually ended up turning into this show, and Jon Favreau has talked about how he didn't necessarily want it to be a continuation exactly because it would mean that people would have had to do the homework of watching Mandalorian and watching Boba Fett and maybe watching Ahsoka before they got into this, and he didn't want it to be like that. He wanted it to be more of a standalone adventure story. Did any of that sort of justify, right? Like why we're making this into a movie? Like to me, when you said like, oh, they ran into some production issues or strikes or whatever, and then that ended up making them decide to make it a movie, I'm like, I don't understand why that would be. Like, why would writers not being available mean that making a movie is the better choice here? To me, that doesn't make sense, and that's where I was saying earlier, like I don't get why that would be true. I don't understand movie production, so maybe there is something that I just don't understand. But to me, I didn't feel like once we got out of this, I didn't necessarily feel like, wow, this had to be a movie in the way that maybe some other movies I'm like, yeah, you definitely need to go see that in a movie theater. This one to me felt like, yeah, it's fine as a movie. It could also have been a TV show. I think I had one specific complaint that probably is generated from the sense that it was a show first, but also would have been a criticism of the show itself as well. I don't know, Brian, did you think it made sense to make this into a movie rather than just continuing on with the TV show?
It made perfect sense for Disney's wallet.
Okay.
Like, let's take this garbage that we left in the trash can of the writer's
Toxic
room.
assets, repackage it.
Yeah, we're gonna make hundreds of millions of dollars off this BS. Like, let's do that because, like, is it really gonna drive subscriber growth by having a new season of Mando? Maybe not.
No.
But you know what will? Let's put this out in a theater and then we can sell tickets.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm pulling up some of the interview. He also did talk about like it was the restructuring, it was writing, it was like layout, it was like production stuff, and also to your point you mentioned they were restructuring how they just are doing their movies and TV show stuff, period. But also there was a point of like it's making a more accessible story that for some folks who want to watch Mando, watching seasons 1, 2, 3. So a little bit of mix of all of the above.
It sounds like he's confirming what Brian just said.
Have you ever heard of the marketing funnel?
Well,
Let's get people in the funnel.
Well, I am confirming what Brian's saying. I'm saying it's like I'm trying to source it of like, it's a mix of both of like it was all those things. But the point is that a bunch of factors,
new fans.
A bunch of factors were at play.
Disney Plus.
Hey, I mean, I got to go see it with my girlfriend, and she's an even bigger fan of it now, and she was watching the show. So
it worked.
And now you're rewatching the show, right? Like exactly.
Yeah, but I haven't rewatched. But I like Mandalorian. This isn't like some kind of chore for me or thing I don't want to do. Like I enjoy the show. If I didn't like it, I wasn't finna watch that shit. But yes,
regardless of whether or not it's a worthwhile watch, it's like did the levers of capitalism work here?
Sure, but
yes, they did.
Yeah, but is that a bad thing? Like it was a movie. It was a fun movie for a fun show. Like I'm here for it. I'm not.
I'm saying it's not a fun movie. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's cool. That's where we disagree. I enjoyed the movie.
Okay. Well,
all right, let's get into the movie.
All right. So in the show, right? Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, and Grogu. Those are not three people. That Din Djarin, comma the Mandalorian. They are sort of the heart, right? The main central theme of the show is like, how do they protect each other, get along together? Is Din gonna actually care for Grogu as a father figure? Is he gonna care for him in the way that, like, I'm trying to do what's best for you kind of father figure, right? And we go through all of those things in multiple seasons. We're now at this movie point where they've agreed, like, Grogu has chosen to be with Din Djarin at this point, but also still can't talk. And we're kind of thrust into this, I don't know, just adventure bounty hunter stages where Din Djarin is trying to hunt down former Empire, warlords basically at this point and bring them to justice. His particular type of justice usually. Did you feel like this relationship held the movie together? Because I think that's probably the question about whether this movie worked for you is, were you invested in the relationship between Grogu and Din Djarin in this movie? Savon, were you?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's a relationship that like I've been invested in just from watching the show. Period. Like, okay, cool. It's very clear that these two both deeply care for each other. They both have gone out of their way to try and help bail out the other. But let's just say you're going in without a lot of context from the show and you've seen the relationship and say this is kind of more of a ground level entry. I still thought they did a really solid job of establishing it. Like, he's as super serious as the Mandalorian always is. He still has his little moments of levity with Grogu, the mix of being serious with him but trying to teach him and put him on game. It often feels like, a dad who has like an infant child and he's mostly talking to the child, he's half talking to himself. But like, I don't know, I like that dynamic. And I also like that other characters continuously kind of pointed it out, so it felt very just, oh, we've seen you and your son. Even the scene with like Rhoda the Hutt and Mando talking about Grogu and reinforce, like, I thought the movie did a fine job of just like, hey man, these two have a very non-traditional but still very caring relationship. And I thought the movie really drove it home with Mando, but they really also, I thought, knocked it out the park with how they did it on the Grogu side of things too. But yeah, I was
Are you
invested.
talking mostly about how he cares for him when he's got the poison in him?
Oh yeah, I thought that was
Okay.
I mean, just we'll get to it, but like, to me, that was a high point of Star Wars period for me, of like, oh, I haven't seen something like this I've enjoyed in Star Wars period in a while. Like, that was the high point. That was the peak of the film for me.
Right.
But
Nice.
I thought the relationship was fine. Like, I thought that was one of the high points of the movie.
Brian?
I didn't think the relationship was a main part of the movie at all. It kind of didn't matter. They were already together. They're just like moving through these different pockets of the universe, doing whatever, and their relationship was kind of a non-factor. I felt like it sort of made no difference on what was happening in the various adventures that they were going on until that last moment that you're talking about where Grogu had to take care of Mando.
Mm-hmm. Which
aside
I agree,
from that though, like Grogu did not have to be in most of these scenes at all. Like, there's nothing for Grogu to do, and there's also no place where their relationship went. Right, like,
I think that's the
biggest
thing.
They didn't like try to explore some new dimension of their relationship, especially knowing from the series that Grogu left Luke Skywalker's company to be with Din Djarin. Like, you got to give us something for that, right? Like, are there consequences for that? Are there like Grogu's no longer able to use the Force as well, or still trying to learn the Force, or like, something, or is Grogu now becoming more like Mando, and maybe that's a problem? Is Mando changing because he can't do the badass shit that he wants to do because now he's saddled by this fucking child, and like, damn, this ruined my life, child. Like,
I want a video game, goddammit.
Yeah, exactly. I want to stay up late and eat pizza and like something. Give us something. Give us a reason for these two characters to be together. Give us a buddy cop movie, like something. Like, but because of the nature of these characters, they can't even have fun exchanges. There's absolutely nothing. And like, you could have swapped out both of them with two random characters in the Star Wars universe, and this would be the exact same movie. What the F? Can I get a refund? Can I get a refund? Come on.
So, was that a problem for you? And so, why is that an issue, I guess, in the movie compared to the show? Because I feel like all throughout just Mandalorian, it's always been about those two kind of being a few words. Do you think this is a case of like just the TV
they grow
format
together.
being?
Yeah.
I think in the first 2 seasons of Mando, they've absolutely grow together, right? And like things that Wes had already mentioned, right? Like Mando himself doesn't know which direction he's going in.
Mhm.
And Grogu's presence and the responsibility of having Grogu changes him to some degree. And then by season 3, like all of that's kind of out the window. So what we're seeing in the movie is a rehash of some of those problems. But the first 2 seasons of Mando, I do think their dynamic is central to the overarching story, even though, you know, of course, those seasons are laid out episodically and they have different adventures. But like the overarching story arc is, you know, their relationship.
Yeah.
And we just don't really get any of that in this movie. Like, just because like their relationship is good by the end of the TV series doesn't mean that it doesn't have room to grow. Like, any married person knows that things change, man. Like,
Well-
take us somewhere.
Well,
Well,
one
you can
thing I
make him a
thought they were gonna
teenager.
get. Well, what
Yeah,
I
he
thought they
could've
were gonna
been-
get at.
Right. He could have been like Groot, right? It's just like, now he's at a different stage of life. Also, why is Grogu not talking yet? Is he stunted because he's stuck with Mando because Mando doesn't talk? And like, what happens when you don't talk to your child? They don't learn to speak.
I mean, he do talk
Mando
to that dude all
does
the
talk.
time. Grogu just don't listen. He be telling, he was giving that boy detail. Don't touch that. That's why there's the safety valve on the whatever. Now, if anything, he be in West. Don't you supposed to use the big words with him? I think Grogu is just a selective. You have a dog, you know how. I think he's just a selective. He's very
my
selective
dog
about
talks.
how engaged he is or isn't in terms of just like, I heard you, but like I ain't really. I'm listening, but I ain't hearing you. What I will say is that, yes, I guess one challenge is that by the time we see them in this movie, a lot of the friction in their relationship has already been worked through already. So we see them in a very good place. And again, most movies, it's about the journey of them changing. A lot of movies are less so that, which maybe that's another issue of the TV to movie format. One thing I thought was a missed opportunity was that they kind of hinted at was, and I agree with you on this, Brian. I thought the relationship was fine. Like, I didn't really think it needed to go through a bunch of. I thought the Grogu helping him was a very good development of their relationship because it was less one-sided. But I thought they were building up at Rhoda the Hutt talking about the not living in your father's shadow bit. I thought that was going to be a more central theme to the movie of Grogu wanting more, like, you know, just the whole, this is my dad. Everyone fear and respected my dad, but I want to be my own man. I thought, oh, that's a really cool theme for this character. I thought, and then his relationship with Grogu
That would
was
have been
so
perfect.
dope. I really thought, oh, okay, so they're building up something with like Grogu maybe wanting to maybe still be with Mando, but do his own thing, or maybe he has to make another choice of yada yada. Like, I thought that was something they were getting at, and maybe that would be the next step of like, hey, Grogu's grateful and loves you, but what does he want agency wise as he gets older? And, you know, Rhoda's a good kind of I'm sorry, what's the word? Analogy, you know, he can be a good analogy or a comparison for that. I was hoping we get more of that, but yeah.
But no.
It's one of those, like, it was a missed opportunity. Like, it was a missed opportunity of like, those lines just felt very pointed of be my own man, not be like my father. They're all talking. Grogu's sitting here in his literal father's shadow next to him in the room. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But also,
Cash
again,
grab.
dude, Star Wars is the first movies were meant to sell toys. Star Wars is a cash grab franchise. If you're not selling toys, we had Ewoks in the 80s, bro. Which
Just because it's a cash grab, generally, well, like all
not
products
generally,
are cash.
it is Star Wars is a cash grab. They made the movies
All
to sell
products
toys.
are cash grabs, right? Like everything in our, you know, entertainment industry is a product. But that doesn't mean that the people that make them have to treat it that way. However, in this instance, like the veil is removed. Like it is clear they're not like putting a lot of heart and soul into this movie.
A bull dinky. That's why I disagree. I like the animatronics. I like that they had a lot of moments where they really were like, okay, we're going to old school Star Wars, focus on practical, and they really went all in. Granted, there were some moments where I'm like,
maybe the VFX people had fun.
like
Did
I
the
thought-
writers? Did the writers?
So here's my thing about the plot of the movie. Like, I just don't think Mando and Grogu as characters, just by the nature of what they are, is ever gonna be good people for like some deep plot. I mean, again, this is how I felt about the Mandalorian series. I was like, okay, it's not too deep because Dan ain't got shit to say and the baby's a baby. So there'll be some stuff, but it's mostly about the visual storytelling and the adventure. So that's really what I was all in for in this movie. And I thought, like, you know, in terms of just cool set pieces, cool places in space, a bounty hunter doing cool bounty hunter shit, fighting all kinds of cool monsters and aliens and gangsters and shit, like, that was the minimum of what I wanted from this movie. The other areas where it struggled, I think could have been fixed if they just had made it into a TV show, because that would have just been more of a pacing issue. But Mando has never been deep. Grogu's never really been deep characters. They had some stuff and their dynamics cute, but the reason we liked the show in the first place is that it was him, adventure of the week, go around, be a badass, do cool shit. And I felt like at the bare minimum, we got that. And I just didn't go into this movie expecting Din Djarin to have some kind of deep growth or revelation, because he's not a very deep dude. Like, he's a hunter with a code of like, all right, I don't like gangsters no more. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm here for the beautiful shots of like the dragon snake in the pit, which was cool, or seeing the hut base and just seeing how the huts interact, or seeing even the battle coliseum scene, a cool detail. This is like real deep cut, and this is where I'm like, people had to have cared when they put this shit together. When they were fighting in the Coliseum, it was a reference to the OG Star Wars when Chewbacca and him are playing the little chess game with the monsters and shit, the little hollow chess. A bunch of those monsters were the same ones in that Coliseum scene. And even the Coliseum had a reference grid layout like the hollow board. Like, to me, moments like that were like, oh man, they clearly have some Star Wars nerds up in here doing it. I think the issue with the biggest thing is that just you got two leads who don't talk, and like, maybe you can work through that better in a TV show, but clearly a lot of dialogue had to be carried by other characters, which I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's a thing. They had to put in Zeb because they needed someone to have more to say as like a pilot, because Mando ain't got shit to say. They had Sigourney Weaver's character to kind of be the little connector, although that might also be because your boy, the late Carl Weathers, is dead. But even Road to the Hutt, like, his character had I wouldn't be surprised if all of them had more lines than Mandalorian. Whether that's a good or a bad thing is, I think that is person to person, but like, I'm not here for that shit. I wanted the action and bounty hunting, and it was dope.
I don't think there was action in bounty hunting.
I didn't get
tripping.
I didn't think it was like, none of it was interesting. It was just like,
all that
whatever.
cool shit, him
He
whooping
didn't
up
do cool
stormtroopers and the starship battle and him fighting the snake thing and all that. None of
He
him
did
Mando just
very little cool stuff in this movie.
He was kicking ass the whole movie. Are you? You know what? It's cool. Wes, what do you think?
Ryan didn't watch the same movie me and you did.
I
I guess.
also fell
Am I
asleep.
tripping? Motherfucker.
And I'm not the only one, too.
Really?
2 people out of my group of 4 fell asleep.
Hey,
Oh, no.
Hey, why? No, you know what you did. You should have led with that, so we could have been put an asterisk on whatever your ass had to say. You waited until we were 30 minutes into this pod to say you fell asleep during the movie.
I mean, it's not
Wes-
like I missed the whole movie. It was just, you have rolling
Dozed
brownouts.
off. You just
Wes.
took those off.
Look, you know what, Wes?
I didn't
if
miss-
you said that, you would at least
I
led
didn't
with
miss
that.
anything
You would have
important.
took your lashes from the beginning.
No, like, there's a reason why people in my group are falling asleep.
Maybe
Yeah.
y'all are old.
It could be
I mean,
that.
that's part of it. But
You should have had
Okay,
your
here's-
little pre-movie coffee.
I feel like I'm a little bit of Switzerland on this one. I think
Useless.
in terms of the plot, the story, the writing, I walked away wishing for a little bit more. In
Same.
exactly the ways that Brian is talking about, that I wanted Mandalorian and Grogu to have some sort of growth in their relationship or conflict in their relationships or something where they had to change. And I walked away feeling like they are heartwarming. They are so cute and adorable together. And I love the way that they protect each other. And yet it never felt like that relationship was threatened in any sort of way at any time during the movie. Grogu was he kidnapped at some point or something? There was a couple moments where it was like, oh, somebody's in danger, and obviously, the Mandalorian is in danger when he gets stabbed by the poison. But they never had to overcome something together between the two of them, and I think that lack of growth, development, or whatever meant that the story would have had to compensate in other ways, and I feel like they just never quite got there. And I don't know if you can make a movie actually without a character growing or coming to some realizations or whatever. Like, that's not a good story to watch on screen. I think where I did enjoy and where I agree with Savon is I did like the action. I did like kind of the episodic nature of it. I didn't really notice in the moment that, like, oh, this could have been episode 1, and then this was probably episode 2 of the show. And this
I was in the theater actively like this. I'm like, oh, they are
new episode
moving. They are like, they left the planet. They got the wide shot of the thing leaving space. They did not. Sometimes you let the shot linger for a sec. They say, no, we're not doing a little transition space scene. Okay, cool. They left this planet. Cool. They are at the other planet they said they was finna be at, because we got
stuff to do.
It was kind of like Project Hail Mary of like, oh, clearly they had ground to cover, so they were like, look, man, their poor editor. That editor probably was that the right term, Brian? Editor? That the person whose job was like, hey, we got to make this shit flow.
Put it all together. I mean, the director probably has a
I
big
feel
part in
bad
that
for
too.
them for other reasons.
Oh my God. If you don't answer my damn question, Grandpa. But
yeah, I don't know. I wasn't thrown off by that. I really just, I enjoyed the adventures that they were doing. I enjoyed the way that the set pieces played out. I enjoyed some of the cameos that we got to see that were kind of fun, but weren't.
Dave Filoni's cameo?
Yeah, he's in there.
where did
right?
Dave Filoni appear?
He's one of the X-Wing pilots, and he's in the bar.
I don't think I even know what Dave Filoni looked like,
Martin
man.
Scorsese.
Yeah,
as
Martin
the
Scorsese had
cook.
I liked his role in it.
Oh, that was him? I don't think I know what he looked like. Oh, I don't know what Dave Filoni looks like. He could be at my door right now, and I wouldn't recognize that man.
Martin Scorsese wasn't in it as a person. He was one of the voices of the cook with like 4 arms.
Oh, yeah. You didn't see nothing. No, nothing. You didn't see nothing here.
That's Martin Scorsese. And there was, I don't know, I was invested in the moment to moment, like, oh, he's got to go rescue Rada. Crap, like Rada doesn't want to be rescued. Now he's got to fight him. That part felt a little bit like, you didn't really, whatever, it's fine. Because he gets trapped, like, it's like, okay, yeah, I could see why Coin would make you fight, or whatever they called him. He wasn't called Coin yet, right, at that point. Whatever, the warlord guy. And just all of those moments, and then it turning out that like that the Hutts, the twins, were actually sort of behind this, and we're actually going to double cross everybody. That kind of created like a kind of fun twist on, okay, well, how do we save Rada and not get the twins what they want, right? And they have to walk into the trap anyways because there's no way out of it. Like, all of that stuff was cool. Like, I really liked it. It felt very Star Warsy, very adventure-y. It and like in hindsight, yeah, like it did feel a little bit episodic in the way that some of that happened, but it didn't detract from it to me in terms of the movie. I enjoyed like all of those things, and like, to disagree with Brian, I did enjoy like all the bounty hunter scenes, the action that he had to go through, the having Rada on the ship and him having nowhere to go except in the cargo net, but he couldn't get out of it. Just stuff like that. It's just like, it's cool. And then Rada ended up being Jabba's son, but ended up being actually a totally like, not a good guy, but kind of a good guy, a guy who had his head on straight. And yeah, given that he had a pretty terrible father, like that's kind of a cool thing.
He didn't want his daddy criminal empire. He said, I don't want any part of this.
Yeah,
I don't like how y'all get down. They said, well, tough titty, you are the heir, so you're
right.
You're playing
and
this game.
That's super I don't know, that's super interesting to me to have a character that we know of from Star Wars lore as being like, this all-powerful, a power-hungry guy who was pretty cruel and mean and unfeeling, and then have his son be empathetic and not want that for his life and want to be out of it, and and then be super jacked. Those muscles were super distracting. I'm not sure why he needed to be so jacked.
Because he's a pit fighter.
Did you start feeling tingly, Wes?
I don't know. I was like, ooh, that guy belongs on Men's Health. He's got the Luca transformation happening here.
The wild part, why is Uncle tried to fight him and say, hey, you ain't little, and your daddy ain't here to protect you? I'm like, do y'all see his build?
I know, right? Like, yeah. He ain't need his daddy for that.
I'm like, do y'all not see his pecs? Like, hey, y'all should be worried. Like,
but why does the slug have human musculature? That didn't make any sense to me.
Wes, we are not getting into Star Wars biology. That is not the can of worms we are going to open right now.
Well, anyways, so but I think my one critique really stems from the idea that I think they didn't think through how are we going to actually make the emotional heart of the movie come through and be meaningful, but they did think through a lot of, I think, the action adventure pieces, and I really enjoyed those. So like that's where I think to me it was a mixed bag of like, I really enjoyed this part I felt like was pretty lacking. Jen I think felt the same thing, but she phrased it differently. She felt like it felt long. She was like, that movie was too long.
It should have been, again, that's another one of the, like, so funny enough, Tony had a similar
episodic thing, right?
Yeah, it's an episodic thing. Like, so Tony, again, she's only seen season 1 of Mando, doesn't have a lot of the, hyper context, but even in the movie one, and we both knew the movie was, okay, we saw the video talking about, it was supposed to be a TV show, got reimagined, yada, yada. But even her, minimal context, said, oh, yeah, I can tell that they probably wanted this to be a show, because she could tell, we're really hitting every planet. We are hitting, and it's like, oh, man, I could see how this could have been spread out to 6-7 episodes and could have told this story a little more long form. So this is where I'm at, though, because I kind of like this movie. This movie kind of epitomizes my relationship with Andor a little bit, of Andor having supreme writing and dialogue, but the action-y Star Wars elements I like, which drew me in, is what kind of like, good show, but that's not what enthralled me. And then this being kind of the inverse of like, the story isn't anything particularly amazing, but it gives you all the other Star Wars shit that you want. And so that's what's really elevated this for me. So I want to just be clear, I'm agreeing with y'all about the plot stuff, but I really do think that that long extended like time lapse, where they even did the long time lapse shot where Mandalorian was poisoned and Grogu was taking care of him, despite all the other flaws, I thought that shit was great. Like, it was no dialogue, just chill, really well scored music, a lot of just dope puppetry of the Grogu character exploring this beautiful alien forest and dealing with the creatures, and just lots of dope, beautiful shots, and him, just like you're realizing, okay, we know that Grogu's been a dumb baby this whole time, and we've only seen him kind of not really pull his weight, but I genuinely enjoyed him stepping up in that moment in a way that made sense to like his character. Like, you don't expect Grogu to save the day necessarily by coming in and pulling out a lightsaber and shooting and fighting a bunch of people. He'll do a little force hold maybe on a good day, but like the whole him kind of doing his Yoda instincts of making a mud hut and all this, it felt very grounded of like, okay, he has been picking up some shit from Mando over all this time to put the team on your back. Like, yes, there was a lack of emotional depth in their relationship throughout the movie. I fully agree with that. It was being carried by other characters, but I thought that extended sequence knocked it out the park. I didn't think Mando was going to necessarily die. I mean, there was a moment where I was like, are they going to kill Mando? I was like, no, they're not going to kill him.
In those
and then
scenes,
he came back and
I
saved
really
them.
enjoyed that one gag they did where they had Grogu force push him into the shelter, and he wasn't tall enough. Oh man, I died.
It was the perfect blend of humor.
That was so obvious.
It was the perfect dude. It was the perfect blend of it was funny, but also it's not like
his helmet goes clink.
But also we haven't had any humor in a minute because it's been this really somber, just is he dead, is he not? We get a little bit of humor. He still I just really rock with Grogu putting the team on his back, and the fact that it was a long, extended, well puppeted, just like music chill scene almost gave me like, what was other movies that we haven't? Like, almost like how Wally has those long, just not. I love when a movie can just say, hey, we're gonna just not do dialogue for a pretty solid amount of time and just tell a visual story. And I think those are the things that Mandalorian was always good at, because the show had to figure out how do we fill time and have cool parts with people who don't talk a lot. And I thought the
Mando
scenery
does talk though. I don't know where you're getting this. I mean, maybe he's not like super verbose.
What I'm saying is that like he talks, but he's like he talks in the sense of he's here to talk business. If he's talking, it's about the job, but he's not just a, hey, how's your day? How you doing? Like, he's not a chatter in that sense. Okay. So he just doesn't have a lot to say, which isn't a bad thing. He's a bounty hunter who, they got their shit going on. But I just really wanted to elevate that part of the movie because it stood out noticeably from the rest in a very, very good way. And I was like, yo, if we're just talking individual Star Wars scenes I've seen over the years, maybe there's some recency bias, but like this one stood out as like, oh man, this is one of the better just Star Wars sequences I've seen in years. And that elevated, like that was just a little thing that like, oh, this really bumps this movie up for me.
Ryan,
despite all the valid flaws.
Ryan, were there any good moments that you enjoyed about the movie?
The credits.
Are you all
the robots?
Are you all thumbs down?
The robots.
Which robots?
Who are the guards to the twins? The
twin okay,
yeah. The
how they used the kind of the mashup, all the old droids and put them together.
They were awesome. Those droids were really cool, really well animated. I think it was like a combination of stop motion and CG, and yeah, those were super cool. But yeah, this movie sucked. I want my money back.
Can't believe you hated it that much.
Not
like, the adventure stuff was cool.
Screen. The adventure stuff was boring and hackneyed, and we've seen it before. Not interesting, and a ripoff of better things. Like even the Coliseum. Come on, like how many Coliseums do we need to see in effing movies that are never, and they're never even interesting? Like come on, man. Like those monsters were like throw off characters from Men in Black. They were not cool. I don't care that they were referenced in chess.
They were before Men in Black.
Referenced chess. They were meant to be like little detailed things in the background. They're not interesting aliens. Like, give us something cool. Give us something memorable. But it's just like, man, they're just like running through the motions on this. So bad. What a bad movie.
Man, I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Are you guys not mad that you spent like $20 on this? Good Lord.
No, it's fun. I would rewatch this movie.
Lord.
That movie was fun enough to where I'd say I'd sit and watch this again. I was not bored during this movie. Like, this was a movie that was very much I know exactly what the flaws and things I don't like about it are. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm not sure. I know exactly what they are. And I know how they weigh against the things I do like. And it comes out to like, cool, I can reconcile these things. These things aren't like deal breakers for me.
Were there any other characters that you enjoyed, Savon, in the movie? I mean, I know Grogu and Mando obviously take up most of the screen time, but we get a look at the little critters that can fix things. I forget, Anzellans, I think, with their mini spaceship. That's pretty funny. Mando looks at it and goes, "Oh, I can't fit in that." Those guys. We get Sigourney Weaver's character as some kind of general or lieutenant or something. We get Zeb, who makes an appearance. He's a character from Rebels that I don't know anything about. There's sort of we obviously get the twins who show up in the Clone. Is it the Clone Wars? No.
No,
What is the Clone?
Boba Fett. The
What is
twins
the Clone
appear in
Wars
Boba
series?
Fett.
And they appear in
Clone
Boba
Wars
Fett.
series, Rhoda appears. The twins appear in the Clone Wars series, or in Boba Fett. The twin appears in that Clone Wars movie, the first one.
Okay.
Because Rhoda was
so
like one
we
of
get
the
all
main
these other
characters.
characters that kind of pop in and out here. Was there anybody that stood out to you as a character? I felt like Sigourney Weaver was she didn't have much to do, and I wish that she had more to do. But I don't know that you could do that in the stories that they wanted to tell, given that Mandalorian always left.
It's like, why
Zap-
cast Sigourney Weaver in that role?
Yeah, that didn't
Right?
necessarily make sense. But maybe she just wanted
It's
to be
just
in it
like
because it's Star Wars and it's
made
cool.
it more disappointing. Like, right? Like she's
Now
gonna
you
have
just finding shit to be mad about.
she's gonna have like importance. Like
Yeah.
she's like the star of Alien. This is gonna be a good cameo. Kind of like when Werner Herzog is in the first season of Mando. I think he's in the
Werner
first season of Mando, right? Like the German director
Who's Werner Herzog?
he's like one of the Imperial leaders in the first season.
Oh, he the one
Right,
who wanted the baby.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, he's a dude. Oh, he's like a dude.
You throw in like these like very interesting actors to portray some of these smaller roles because they're really gonna like level it up into something, and you're just like, wow, they gave Sigourney Weaver nothing.
Yeah, they didn't give her much to do. It didn't have to be Sigourney Weaver on that one. All right. Anyways, things you
I like
enjoyed.
Rhoda.
Savon,
I
or
like
characters you
Rhoda.
enjoyed. I thought it was
Rhoda.
cool.
I thought
except his
Rhoda was
muscles.
cool. I thought that was the coolest part of the design. I mean, we literally used to just seeing the Hutts be a bunch of fat, disgusting criminal slobs, and to see a Hutt who's out here like his first introduction is that he literally body mashes a dude. I was like, oh shit! Like, but outside of the design, outside of the fighting and design, I just liked his character. I just thought he was a cool character in the context of this movie. Of like, and again, this is a movie where you
a
need
totally
to make the
different
side
kind of Hutt
characters
than we've ever seen before.
You need to make the side characters interesting, and like I thought he was something just very like different that we haven't seen. A Hutt who's just not a criminal. He's not an obese slob. He got real deal hands. He's pretty chill and well adjusted, all things considered. But also still has an interesting backstory of like just the whole escaping the legacy of an evil
also
parent
super
and that
naive,
chasing
right?
you. Yeah, but like he was an interesting character. Like but I thought that was a cool character of like considering he's not the star of the show, someone who's being hunted by family for something they don't want to be a part of, but also dealing with wanting their freedom and wanting agency and living their own life. Again, it was a missed opportunity to parallel with Grogu, who that's damn near his same story of childhood separated from the people who raised him in this weird middle ground. Like there's a lot of parallels. That's literally why Rhoda effing loves Grogu so much. Those two are homies throughout the movie. Like that was such a
them playing in the water was so
that
good.
was adorable. I was like,
That's so good.
I'm like, oh, this is melting my old little heart.
And visuals
when they're
were
asleep on the
fantastic
ship. When they're both
one.
asleep on the ship and they call him for help, and he's like, I can't fly. You can fly? I can't fit in the car. All right, we're gonna figure this shit out, little homie. But I enjoyed Rhoda and him beating the crap out of his people. But yeah, for a side character, and it was a fun little callback of the OG Clone Wars movie when we first got Ahsoka. The movie was about saving baby him. So that little full circle is a cute. But yeah, I love
Rhoda,
that
they gave us the
I want
picture and
more
it was
Rhoda
like
the Hutt. Right, and it's like he's grown a lot since then. I'm like, I saw the trailer. He's grown a lot since then.
Well, I felt like that was a great needle drop when we cut to current Rhoda and we're like, whoa, really grown.
Right.
Like,
That's
oh,
a
that's
real
what
growth
you meant.
spurt.
Yeah.
No, Rhoda stole the show for me. He's like a character who I definitively would love to see more of.
And
there was a little
played
even
by
greedy part of me.
Jeremy Allen White from The Bear.
No idea that was him.
Yeah.
But
No,
like, Rhoda's a character I would want to see more of. Like there was a part of me that's like, oh man, in fanfic world, he becomes friends with Mando and Grogu and they all just become one happy family and shit. But
that's what I thought was gonna happen.
I want more Rhoda the Hutt is kind of where I stand. I like his character. He's cool, brings interesting shit to the table. He really stood out to me.
I think if you bring in more of the conflict and him having to grow, I think that would be something. If you just do the thing where he's like,
well, he
just
had more
another,
emotional growth than the main characters. Like he had more emotional shit than them going on. Because like we said,
a little bit.
Din and Grogu got their shit figured out already. He had to figure out the whole destiny, the fixes in. he was the one getting bounced all over the place. Like, you probably would have been a better main character than Mando and Grogu, honestly. Like, there's a parallel universe where there's just a movie about him, Brian, and it has all the emotional beats you want, and Grogu and Mando just show up to blow shit up and leave.
That movie's called Thor Ragnarok. All right, let's finish this up then. I think we've said mostly what we need to say. You asked about the visuals, Savon, earlier, and I think the visuals were fantastic. I never noticed them. They weren't distracting. The only thing was like Rhoda's body was weird. I think that getting out of the volume seemed to help this movie a lot, right? The sets were just a lot bigger. I mean, maybe they used more CG instead of the volume. I'm not sure, how they produced it, but there were definitely times in the series where you're like, oh, they're in the volume and they can only take 4 steps. And that didn't feel like a limitation here. It felt like they were actually in bigger settings and bigger worlds. And, there was enough like trash on the floor and like junk on the floor that was like, okay, this is a lived in place. It's not just a fake set that, they barely had time to dress up. So I felt like being that it was a movie, they were able to put way more effort and money into making sure the sets look good and bigger and lived in. I don't know. Brian, did you I feel like you catch those things quite a bit. Did you feel like that part of it at least works?
Nope.
No.
Like what is the name of the Huts world? Like
Nal
Hutta or something.
Yeah, Nal Hutta.
So just CG, right? Just like CG, maybe AI even, right? Like mush. I felt that way too about whatever the Coliseum world was like too, like the streets. Like,
oh, I like that.
It's just like it doesn't feel like a built-in place. It doesn't feel like a lived-in place at all. And I would say that like Andor has kind of ruined Star Wars in this way, right? Because Andor films in a lot of real locations, and then they extend those real locations to be part of this science fantasy world. Whereas the rest of Star Wars are filming on sound stages in the volume, if that's what it's called. I didn't know that that's what it's called. And just like feel really false. And I think that showed in this. Like even in the jungle scene with Grogu when he's taking care of Mando who's sick, like it looks very Jim Henson-y. I mean, like, I know that's that's actually what they're going for, but like,
yeah,
like it's 2026. Like, we could do better than this. Come on, guys. Like, I think for me, like the biggest issue is that they gotta warrant what is being put on the big screen. Right? Like, there's a reason why people stop going to movies. And damn, if there was ever a nail in the coffin, this is it. Like, shoot. Like, not worth it at all.
Fair enough. All right, man. Last episode, Savon was so upset. This episode, Brian is so upset. I'm just here vibing. I enjoyed it. I did think it had some holes in it, but I enjoyed it. All right. I think I'm going similar to where I was in The Boys. I think it was a little bit higher, maybe, a little just under 4. I feel like I was, 3.9-ish, 3.8, something like that. I don't know if I'd go full 4.0 here, but I enjoyed it. It was a good adventure for me. Savon, where are you at? Oh, we can't hear you.
No, for me, this is a solid B+ movie.
Nice.
Not an A. The things that were issues definitively held it back, but I had a good time. Like,
nice.
Went to that movie and was in the theaters like, yo, I enjoyed myself. And like I said, I'd watch it again. Like, this is a movie I'm like, one day I could give me a few months, a year or so, I'll pop up, get comfortable, put some popcorn, watch this again. And that's the hallmark of a good movie for me.
And I like, for the most part, that you didn't have to see Mandalorian and Grogu to feel like you knew what was going on. I feel like
so that's the double-edged sword, right? Of like, there's people like us who've watched a lot of the show, and keep in mind, you really do got to do a lot of homework. Like, me and Tony, like, we got to do 2 seasons of Mando, then the
but I feel like
season
you
of
didn't
Boba
have to.
Fett. No, that's the point.
Without it.
100%. That was like before the movie. We were in the camp of, dang, we got to do a decent amount of prep work to catch up ready. We couldn't. But even when we watched a little video to fill the gap, when we launched to the movie, she more or less was like, one thing I'll give them props. Like, I understand the decision of, okay, while I would have preferred a TV show, I do get making the story more accessible, helps more people get on this ride that you don't want to have to spend years, all this stuff catching up on. I thought it did a solid job of like at least making it a good barrier of entry. And like, I do think there's going to be a lot of folks watching Mandalorian now just to see how did they get here. And I think that's a good thing. Like, it's a good show.
Watching
and
it as like a prequel.
Yeah, and I think, while I would have preferred the season, I don't have a problem with it opening up more people to become fans of the show.
All right. Brian, what are you rating this?
But
What's
I
your
really would have
Metacritic?
liked this to be a show. It really should have been a
Okay.
TV show. Like, I really would have liked this to have been
I don't think that
6
would've helped.
episodes. I think
kind
all
of
my
enjoyed-
issues would have been sanded over a little bit. It would have been so many more hours of content alone that you can just let shit breathe. But it is what it is.
I don't think they had enough story to tell for a whole season. Anyways, Brian, what?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
what would you rate
exactly.
this?
You could feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Wes. I think 4. 4 is the right number out of 100. Yeah, that sounds about right.
God. Okay, 4 out of 100. Really, you're that down on it?
Maybe 40. 40
Okay.
out of 100.
So pretty low.
But like, man, $20? Come on.
Well, you do live in New York. Everything's more expensive nowadays. All right, that wraps up Mandalorian and Grogu. I did want to say two things about things that are out that we're probably not going to have time to do a whole episode on. Maul Shadow Lord, I really enjoyed it. Sav, did you want to give like your 1 minute, 2 minute take without any spoilers, just like how you thought the series went or what you sort of walked away feeling? Brian, you haven't seen it yet, right? Okay, go, Sav.
Yeah. Ultimately, Maul Shadow Lord was good. Like, it was a nice little side thing to flesh out the character. It really fleshes out one of Star Wars' more interesting villains. Obviously, the animation and story and just how it was put together was really cool. But it fleshes out Darth Maul as like a very interesting character in the Star Wars universe while maintaining he is a villain. But it's a very good take on a villain character. And Star Wars usually doesn't do good villain as the lead type shows because they soften them up. They didn't do that, and it made for a really entertaining show. Like, I didn't think I wanted more, but I want more.
Nice. I would agree with what you said. I also wanted to highlight just the visuals from, I think maybe we talked about this already on our last pod when we started about the opening, but the visuals just were stunning. And I think they did land the plane at the end. I really felt like they brought it home in a way that I was like, I didn't necessarily need this. Like, oh, can't we move on? And then it was like, nope, that was the right choice. It was kind of awesome. So kudos to them for using certain characters in a cool way. And then moving on a little bit to a different universe, a different multi-dimensional thing is Spider Noir just dropped all 8 episodes on Amazon Prime. And the thing they're hyping a lot is the fact that you can watch it in color or in black and white. And I've been toggling between the two, and I like them both, actually.
What?
I know, yeah. I was like, wow, this is like groundbreaking stuff. But what they do, which is cool, is like when you select the other version, it picks up right where you left off on the previous one. So you're not having to like jump back to the beginning and watch them in parallel. You actually just can like switch back and forth if you want to see what it's like and what you prefer. So that was kind of cool. That's just a side technical note about like your watching experience. But it's kind of cool. And this is, Nicolas Cage can be kind of a hit or a miss. I think, he can be a little bit too over the top. And I think his continuing of the Spider Noir character from the Into the Spider-Verse stuff is actually pretty cool. It's totally not the same because his character has a different name. He's not Peter Parker in this one, but everything else is pretty much the same about it. And it's like a fun show. It's not super deep so far. I'm only like 2 or 3 episodes in, but I do think people will enjoy this, especially if they're kind of into, something that's a little bit off the wall and a little bit different, but still,
Yeah, Spider-Man, really different.
But still Spider-Man.
Hey, but he's like
Really
a
mixing
detective in
things
a
up.
1920s world here.
Yeah.
Really mixing things up. Yeah, do we need another neo-noir? We get it. Noir's cool. We like that shit. We don't need more Spider-Man. I hope you enjoyed the show, Wes.
I am enjoying
That's
the show.
not a joke.
I think
I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's everything
other
you want it
people
to
will
be.
enjoy it too.
Cool. I hope y'all enjoy y'all spider slop.
I think you would enjoy it actually also, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know. Brian, have you checked it out yet? Okay. Are you going to? You think?
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm also excited for the new season of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And I'm excited for the new Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland and the
Me too.
Punisher. And I can't wait for the 3rd installment of the Spider-Verse animated films.
I'm excited
Y'all
for
really
all
not
of it.
sick of this shit?
Nope. Bring it on. Bring it on. More Spider-Man.
It's like crack with you people. Jesus. Ugh,
So
spider
good.
acolytes.
That's exactly right. All right, friends, we're out of here.
Talk
Have a
about
good one.
catch grab. That shit is just grab.
Wait. Did I ask you your rating? Oh, I did ask you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, B+.
Okay. All right, friends. We're out of here.
Later.
See you later. Hit us up on Instagram at confidently_pod. We're out of here. Go Knicks in the finals.
Yeah, baby, we did
Brian-
it.
Brian is stoked. Game 7 is tonight as of this recording for OKC and Spurs. I kind of want Spurs to win. All right, friends. We're out
Real
of here.
hot take.
Knicks and Spurs, party like it's 99.
See you later. Bye. Good luck to Brian's team.